How do you finish tracks without overthinking every single thing? You know, when you've been looping the same 8 bars for 40 minutes, you've swapped the snare 6 times, and you're no closer to finishing anything. I'm Minosaur. As a producer, plugin nerd, and former magazine editor, if anyone knows how to overthink, it's me. But I've figured out how to escape it, and now I help hundreds of producers do the same. And the 4 steps I'm going to share in this video will stop you from stalling and second guessing at any stage, including how a bad haircut will help you finish more tracks. And I've put all 4 steps in a free guide you can download below. So let's start with step 1, and this drills down into the core of the problem. What exactly is overthinking? The clue is in the name, it's thinking too much, but some thinking is necessary. The real problem underneath is this: the absence of decision. And what's worse is that producers proudly wear this identity like a badge. I get comments and emails like this all the time. I'm just an overthinker, it's who I am. Every time you tell yourself this, you adopt that identity and it becomes an acceptable part of who you are. So if you actually want to overthink less and finish more tracks, the first solution is clocking it as a temporary state, not an identity. This isn't who you are as a person, it's just a trait you can spot in the moment and do less of. So step 1 is simply recognizing that you're overthinking in the moment and then choosing to do something about it. That's the meta skill above everything else. But spotting overthinking only helps if you've got tactics to interrupt it. And that brings us to step 2, where the most powerful move happens before you've made a single sound. Me and my wife love a Chinese takeaway on a Friday night, but ordering is always a nightmare because the menu is 20 pages long, which is why I always order Kung Pao chicken every single week. And as music producers have all got the 20-page menu in our door. As ex-editor of a music software magazine, here's a glimpse inside my plugin folder. My finger hurts from all this scrolling. And now here's my favourites list of the tools that I actually use 95% of the time. So if you reduce options in the door, you'll decide faster. But use less plugins has become a bit of a cliche. You see it repeated everywhere, which means we gloss over it and forget to do it. But the more you overthink and the more serious you are about solving this, the stricter you need to be with yourself. So pick one drum kit, one synth, one sample pack, one EQ, one reverb, one delay, one of each thing. You can do this for each new project too. Pick a tempo, pick a key, pick a mood, pick a song length. Decide all of that in the first 10 seconds and you've freed up so much mental bandwidth for what's important later. So step 2 is to pick your palette. Cut out all those extra options even before you start. Do this for every project and you've already removed half the decisions that used to trip you up. But even with a small palette, you still need step 3, which is a different skill entirely. Say you've started making your track. Even after reducing options, there are still hundreds of decisions to be made, and they all feel like life or death. Which drums to choose, which chords, which voicings, which bass, how should they be arranged, how many sections. Here I can try out as many claps and snares as I want. Some are better than others. We can do this all day long. The problem is that this logical decision making takes time and makes you freeze up because every choice feels permanent. The solution is a simple reframe. I've had some awful haircuts in my time and I used to get stressed out about it, but compare a haircut to a tattoo, which is permanent. A haircut is not a big deal because it grows back. So when producing, use the haircut rule. When you come across a tough decision in your track, ask yourself if it's a haircut or a tattoo. And, spoiler alert, there are no tattoos. All the choices and options in your project are haircuts that grow back instantly. That's what Control Z is for. You get infinite lives in your door. Every decision is reversible. And it turns out the fastest deciders on Earth work this way. Studies of firefighters show they don't compare options inside a burning building. They recognise the pattern, pick a solution, and move fast. Now, we're not saving lives in burning buildings, we're making fire beats. But the more you commit fast, like a firefighter, the more your brain builds those recognition patterns. You stop deliberating and then you begin creating on autopilot. So this is step 3. Remember the haircut rule. When you can't decide, just commit. Pick the first thing that works and run with it. And if you hate it later, undo. Master this attitude and you'll feel the weight of choices lifted from your shoulders. This is exactly why my Loop to Track workout is getting results for so many producers, because it's not a course you watch once. It's a streamlined workout you repeat on your own music. It's designed to train you out of deliberating and into committing and finishing. Okay, now to step 4. Even if you can pull the trigger in the moment, it can all grind to a halt at the end. Because in the final stages of finishing a track, the problem is a sneakier form of indecision that feels productive. I bet you've done this many times. The problem is reopening settled decisions. The kick was fine yesterday, today you're not sure, so you replace it. Then the snare sounds off, so you swap that too. Then you decide the bass line needs redoing. By this point, you're remaking the track instead of finishing it. So to help us in the final stage of constructing a track, we can find the solution in construction. When a builder is almost done with a project, they walk through the house with a clipboard and write down the last essential things that need fixing: a wonky door handle, a loose tile, or a paint touch-up. Then they go through and they fix each thing on the list. They don't rip out the kitchen or repaint the living room or suddenly decide that the staircase should be on the other side of the house. And that's how you should treat your tracks. In those final stages, make a list of only those essential things that need doing to finish the track, then do only those things. Anything not written down is off limits. Here's an example. For this track, I only had 2 essentials to fix to call it done. I wanted the lead in the intro to feel more spacey and contrast against the drop, so I used a bit more reverb. Then this percussion needed to fit the groove better and sit back, so I had to shift a note and use some EQ. And be honest with your list. Anything that feels like you're reopening settled decisions, you need to stop yourself from going backwards and untangling everything you've done up to this point. Remember, we're not moving the staircase. For this track, I wondered about adding an extra section or maybe some fancier percussion in the breakdown, some crazier bass moments, but I decided that all that is going backwards from the finish line, and I'm just coming up with excuses to not call it done. I know this kind of judgment is harder than it sounds, because by now you've heard the song so many times that it doesn't feel fresh, and your creative brain wants to fix that by changing everything. The trick is to save that energy for the next track after this one is done. So step 4 is to make a list. Check it twice. That's a terrible joke. Work through the list. Resist the urge to reopen anything you've already settled. If you're an overthinker, finishing is the skill you need the most practice on, and the only way to train it is to look forwards, not back. So those are the 4 steps to help you reduce overthinking and finish more tracks. Recognize the pattern, reduce options before you start, use the haircut rule to pull the trigger and be decisive while writing, and to get it done, stick to the list, do not reopen old decisions. If you want all this info handy to refer to while you make music, you can download my free guide via the link below. But I've forgotten the most powerful way to destroy overthinking, and that's by learning from the mistakes of others. So for 20 years of my track finishing lessons condensed into one short video, go and watch this right here. Oh my god, that list joke was so bad.